Rabbi, thank you very much for being with us.
Governor Cuomo, I cannot thank you enough for having me. I want to actually start by saying that you forever earned a very special place in my heart, because the last time you and I saw each other was in Auschwitz. It was January 27th, 2020, just before the pandemic. You had traveled all the way to Auschwitz for the 75th anniversary of the liberation. I was so moved. You were the only major American leader to appear. There was no American president, no vice president. You were the only one. And I walked over to you and I shook your hand and I hugged you. And I took a picture, which I posted. And I'll never forget the honor and respect you showed the 6 million. I'll never forget the honor and respect you showed the Jewish community. Your father was a phenomenal friend of the Jewish community, only to be exceeded by yourself. So God bless you, Governor.
Rabbi, thank you very much. It's very kind of you to say that. And you're right. My father educated me, and our relationship with the Jewish community goes way back and is very deep and very important and very personal. Where are we getting you, Rabbi?
So this is why. Sorry for the strange circumstances here, but they are extremely prescient. Maybe we can wait, right? We'll wait. They're extremely prescient. I am here, believe it or not, in the Reichstag of Berlin. This is, of course, the parliament, the Bundestag of the German people. But for the Jewish community, this has horrific memories. This is the place from where Adolf Hitler rose to power. It's the place from which, with the Reich, that was in January 31st, 1931. He had a torch-lit parade just outside on Unter den Linden Street, where all his stormtroopers marched by with flames, kind of flames we saw in Charlottesville. They weren't chanting "Jews will not replace us," but they were chanting, Heil Hitler. And then, of course, this same building has a fire a month later. Who knows who started it till today, but that gives Hitler dictatorial powers. But the Holocaust is planned from here. So if we're going to talk about anti-Semitism, you and I, everything's providence, Governor. You and I believe in God, and God controls everything. And who would have thought? And here I am speaking to the governor of the state with more Jews in it than any other in the United States, one of the longest serving governors. And as I said, Governor, a very good friend of our community, that I would be speaking to you from this place, which is the epicenter of global anti-Semitism. And that reminds us, and I'm not blaming today's German people, of course. Germany has tried to, of course, own the horrors, the genocide of the past. But it kind of reminds us, as you go into the museum, the memorial just down the street, right near the Reichstag, the first thing you see about the Holocaust is a quote from Primo Levi, the great Italian Jewish writer who committed suicide in 1987 and who was interned at Auschwitz. And he says, the fact that the Holocaust could happen once means that it can happen again. That's all there is to this story. The rest is commentary.
Well, Rabbi, first, you are right. Providence, but it's literally giving me a chill hearing you speak about it. And I just want to mention the trip to Auschwitz. It was my honor to be there. I wish more Americans were there, especially elected officials. But the power of Auschwitz, for everything I've read, everything you've seen, all the movies, when you are there and you see the concentration camp and you actually experience the feeling, I can't even explain it, but I get a chill through my entire body every time I think about it. And it was one of the powerful experiences of my life. Rabbi, the basic question is, as you framed it, why still, with all we've learned, with all we now know, with all the history, with all the organizations that have worked on this topic, why still do we have the problem, even in this country, even in a state like New York, with anti-Semitism? It feels like the chemicals are always in the air, and any spark ignites it. I mean, ignorant, stupid comments from like a Kanye or whatever his name is, and bang, there's another explosion. Why still, Rabbi?
Oh, no, I'm not. Hold on a second. They're asking me to. Okay, I'll go there. Okay. Hold on a second, please. They're telling me that I have an issue broadcasting from the... No, I'm not taking any pictures, only of myself. Look, it's on me. Can I just go here in the back? I'm sorry. Can I go outside for a second?
Not here. Outside isn't the problem.
I'll go outside. Sorry, Governor. I'll go outside. Can I go outside? Okay, no problem. Just a second. This is they're telling me there's a security issue in the Bundestag of taking any pictures, but you can go out into the 23-degree cold. And I'm for Governor, you're worth it. And then here I am. I'm outdoors. If you would have told me, Governor, having lived in Western Europe myself for 11 years as rabbi at Oxford University, if you would have told me that there would be more public overt anti-Semitism in the United States than in England, where I lived, than in Belgium. When you and I were in Auschwitz, I remember right after I saw you, I met the King and Queen of Belgium. More than here in Germany, more than in Poland, more than in the Czech Republic. I never would have believed it. If you would have told me that the greatest rapper of his generation, America's most famous African-American singer, and I was Michael Jackson's rabbi, who loved the Jewish community, but now we have Kanye West, arguably the most famous African-American musician. If you would have told me these people would speak openly about loving Hitler, if you would have told me that white supremacists, neo-Nazis would be sitting with the president of the United States, Nick Fuentes, at Mar-a-Lago, who has a Jewish daughter, who has Jewish grandchildren. If you would have told me that 11 Jews would be murdered at the Tree of Life Synagogue, if you would have told me that another Jewish woman would be murdered openly at the Chabad Synagogue in Poway, California, if you would have told me that Jersey City, 7 were murdered, 3 were Jewish, a non-Jewish hero police officer murdered, I wouldn't have believed any of this. Antisemitism was usually a European problem, exactly where I am. Here I am at the Reichstag of Germany doing this interview. This is where the problem was. 1,000-year history of anti-Semitism, whatever its causes. We can speculate. Was it the fact that the Jews were accused of killing Christ? Was it the fact that the Jews were a different faith? Was it the fact that the Jews were homeless? They kicked out of our land. We had no protection. Whatever the reason is, it was a European problem. America had a racial problem. America was about slavery, Jim Crow, segregation. African Americans were treated like garbage. And the great sin of America is slavery, not anti-Semitism. Not that we were bereft of anti-Semitism, but Jews were not put to servitude. Jews were not forced into camps, God forbid. Jews flourished in America. So, Governor, we are shocked that this is happening. We are in a state of shock. And the Jewish community really doesn't even know how to deal with it. That white nationalists, white supremacists, neo-Nazis are dining with the President of the United States. And let me just say, I try to be very fair politically. Governor, I didn't agree with all of your restrictions and lockdowns during COVID, but I gave you the most immense credit for the way you value human life. I'll never forget what you said. My mother's not expendable. I love that line. I'll never forget that line. My mother is not expendable. We can disagree without being disagreeable politically. So I can thank President Trump for being the most supportive occupant of the Oval Office in American history, while still absolutely condemning how he is allowing, even inadvertently, the mainstreaming of anti-Semitism by meeting people like Kanye West, who love Hitler, who love the guy who occupied this building, and Nick Fuentes, which is disgusting. So we're in a state of shock.
Well, first, and you're right, we can agree to disagree politically, but whatever Trump did for Israel or for the Jewish community, to me, it's all washed away with what he did with Kanye West and Fuentes. I mean, to allow that, forget it. I mean, that is, to me, such a despicable, cowardly act for Trump, and still for him not to have spoken up the way he should. But we'll agree to disagree. Rabbi, I am shocked also that I understand who Kanye is and Kyrie Irving, a basketball player, but it then got picked up and it got resonated. We then had issues with in Brooklyn, New York, with people throwing stones and cursing Jewish people, and I would have liked to believe that we had made more progress than this, that people understood the history. They understood the Holocaust. They understood that America actually, in many ways, did not do as much as it should have done during the Holocaust. And I say that as a proud American, that we were late to World War II. But I'm shocked that it still rears its ugly head. And my question, and the question for all of us, is when does it end, and how does it end, and what should we be doing now?
Well, Governor, unless leaders like yourselves speak out and absolutely condemn the virulent anti-Semitism, which is becoming normalized, even in states like New York. I mean, New York City has 2.5 million Jews, and New York State even more. Your friendship was always critical. Unless this is condemned and uprooted from the highest levels, it will, in fact, be normalized. Now, let me just discuss Donald Trump for a brief moment. When Trump became president in 2016, when he won in 2016, this was right after President Obama's Iran nuclear agreement. And again, I'm not here to talk about politics, but I will tell you a lot of Jews were jarred by the Iran nuclear agreement simply because there was no demand on the part of the administration that Iran first repudiate their genocidal threats against Israel. So the American Jewish community was and remains very concerned about Israel's future. You went to Israel several times. You went as governor. You always showed Israel support. We're very grateful for that. The strange thing is that Israel seems so much more secure today, thank God. Iran remains a terrible threat that I doubt President Biden is going to pull off any nuclear agreement because they're hanging protesters on cranes, literally. That's page 1 of the New York Times today. They're mowing women down with machine guns. No Americans want to give them $100 billion right now. So the real focus now is on American Jewry. We're the ones under threat. We're the ones who are being beaten up, demonized, shot, murdered, literally, in our synagogues. You did such an amazing job as governor protecting the shuls, making sure that JCCs, making sure that Jewish communal institutions were properly protected. And you spoke out about it, and you did so with great passion, and you did so based on conviction. It was not political necessity. Most of the Jews were going to support you anyway. But unless we can condemn this and uproot it as it begins to fester, because otherwise this is going to metastasize. Jews, for the first time, I mean, Governor, we have Jews talking about leaving the United States to be safe. Now, I know that French Jews spoke that way a few years ago. British Jews, when I lived there, always spoke about maybe leaving Britain. We're talking about American Jews not feeling safe. And the truth is, Governor, we need more people like you. And we need more voices like you. Because you are an Italian-American, Catholic, phenomenal friend and brother to the Jewish community. And we felt safe with you as governor. We may have disagreed on issues. That's fine, but we felt safe. We felt we had a real friend. Now, your successor, Kathy Hochul, has got to step up and do the same thing. Eric Adams has got to do the same thing. The new mayor of Los Angeles, Eric Garcetti, by the way, the previous mayor, the immediate past mayor, was my student at Oxford University. And he's Jewish. The new mayor of LA, the big cities where Jews are really under threat have got to step up. Right now, here I am at the Bundestag. You see my yarmulke. Governor, that most Jews in Europe are afraid to be seen openly with a yarmulke. In London, they wear baseball caps or take off their yarmulkes. In Brussels, in Antwerp, in Rome, in Milan. That's what's going to start happening in the United States. You're going to see Jews afraid to wear yarmulkes in New York, Los Angeles, St. Louis, Chicago, Miami. Already, I'm beginning to see that. And then you're going to see a total shift where the American Jewish community is going to become like the European community. It's going to become subterranean. It's going to become something invisible. Now, one of the reasons I'm here is to speak to thousands of Jewish students who live in Germany this coming weekend. And I traveled from New York all the way here so that Germany not become Judenrein. Not only so that that there are Jews, but there are open Jewish communities that are visible, that are transparent instead of being. So that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid that Jewish students on American campuses at Harvard and at Stanford and at NYU and at SUNY Binghamton, et cetera, are going to stop wearing their yarmulkes and they're going to stop advocating for Israel. And Israel isn't only good for the Jews, Governor. Israel is a miracle for the 1.3 million Muslim Arab citizens who enjoy full rights. The only place in the Middle East where they have those rights. We want to see the strengthening of democracy, in the Middle East.